Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6.
Syracuse men's and women's basketball teams advanced to the Final Four. We'll tell you what to expect this weekend.
And a presidential candidate is headed to Syracuse. Find out who is campaigning here tomorrow, later.
Trump's controversial comments on abortion. We'll tell you what he said tonight.
All of that and more Citrus TV News Live at 6 starts right now.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jacob Reynolds.
And I'm Topher Lane. A police raid at Castle Court has left campus buzzing with rumors. We'll tell you what we know for sure in our top story tonight. Early yesterday afternoon, 4 Syracuse University students were arrested at Castle Court. Police are holding them for suspected illegal drug possession. Their names have been released. The 4 arrested are Christopher Mancino, Aubrey Longfield, Carlos Seminario, and Denzel Duranami. Duranami is the only junior. The other 3 are seniors here at SU.
Today we have new images of an apartment raided by the police. It appears as though the entire apartment has been turned over. The video shows 3 different rooms that have all clearly been completely turned upside down by authorities. As you can see, what we're showing you right now, just absolute destruction in those rooms, including that one which has a large hole in the wall. Debris was strewn all over.
We will be following this story closely as it progresses. Be sure to follow on Twitter at Citrus TV News for the latest updates.
Syracuse students have the opportunity to head to the men's Final Four as 3 buses will be departing from Shine tonight at 8 p.m. for Houston. Students can reserve seats on the bus on a first-come, first-served basis. It was also just announced that a little while ago that there will be buses headed to Indianapolis for the women's Final Four as well. Those buses will be leaving Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Both sets of buses will be returning back to campus depending on how the teams advance in the tournament. And Syracuse's Department of Drama will be showing the Spitfire Grill musical at the Storch Theater starting Friday. The musical tells a heartening tale that delves into human spirit and the value of home. And it's based on a film of the same name. It'll be running from April 1st through the 10th.
And more than 1,000 students rallied on campus last night to support victims of sexual assault and relationship violence. The rally had several memorable moments, and I went out to get the story. Over 1,000 students packed Hendricks Chapel last night for SU's annual Take Back the Night event. Take Back the Night is an event meant to raise awareness about sexual assault and relationship violence at universities all across America. The event kicked off with a rally in Hendricks Chapel, followed by a march around campus. The march went from Hendricks to Marshall Street, through Walnut Park, and then back towards the quad. Then, the event ended with a speak-out session in which students could share stories of previous experiences with relationship violence and sexual assault. This portion was closed to the media. The rally saw Senior Vice President and Dean of the Division of Student Affairs Rebecca Reed-Kontrowitz talk, in addition to keynote speaker and former SU football captain Don McPherson.
It is so important that students continue to play a central role in this discussion and movement to raise awareness and end sexual violence on college campuses.
I think more and more on college campuses everywhere, not just here. It's a very important issue, and it can be for campuses polarizing, and I think at SU we have so many students involved. It's not an administration or faculty leading this. It's students who are leading these causes, and that's really important.
McPherson brought in a different perspective to the rally, though. Speaking about his privilege as a man, the former SU star and now self-proclaimed outspoken male feminist asked that we change the conversation.
Right? That's what we do. That's how we get better. In everything else that we do. But when it comes to issues like this, just say no. Just walk away. Just wait. Stop the violence. It's that prevention language and scare tactics that's hard to get excited about. We have to be for something. We have to be for, don't just tell me how not to have bad relationships. Even the idea about consent, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to put the more responsibility on women to tell me what I can do to them. When do we start talking about loving, egalitarian, beautiful relationships between people?
Events for the It's On Us Week of Action will begin on Monday to continue the conversation of sexual assault and relationship violence on campus. Topher Lane, Citrus TV News.
And severe weather is pummeling the South. Find out which states have been hit the hardest.
And President Obama is in Russia. We will tell you how the nuclear summit is going after the break.
But first, Brendan tells us what to expect for weather. Brendan, what have you got?
Well, it was reasonably nice here in Syracuse today, but a large part of the student body is leaving town for the Final Fours in Indianapolis and Houston. So let's take a look at your Citrus TV Final Forecast. We'll see in Houston 70 and 80 degrees. Really nice overall for the games on Saturday and Monday. Some concerts on Friday night and Saturday. Indianapolis not looking as good, but pretty nice overall. A chance for some rain on Monday, but sunny for the games on Sunday and Tuesday. After the break, I'll let you know what the weather will be like if you're staying around here on campus. But first, it's sending out to Tim Langlois in Houston for an update on the Final Four. Tim?
Thanks. We are live in Houston at the Final Four. The teams arrived yesterday. Coming up in sports, we'll hear from players on Syracuse and North Carolina, as well as Jim Boeheim's thoughts. Citrus TV News will be right back.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The FDA is easing restrictions on an abortion pill, saying it can be taken later in pregnancy. Under the new regulations, the pill can be taken 70 days into pregnancy. The previous cutoff was 49 days. Pro-choice advocates such as Planned Parenthood reps praise the move. They say it gives women more options, but opposition says that the new guidelines are dangerous and pose a threat to the mother. The FDA says their studies show a 99% safety record. And Donald Trump is getting some backlash over comments he made about abortion. Earlier in the week, the presidential hopeful said if abortions are outlawed, women who get them should be punished. Trump later backed off the comments, clarifying that the doctors who perform the illegal abortions should be punished. His GOP contenders took advantage of the ordeal. Senator Cruz says Trump is once again demonstrating he hasn't fully thought the issues. Democratic frontrunner Hillary Clinton also criticized his comments, saying no one with that much contempt for women should be allowed in the White House. The winds sweeping down the plains are right. At least 7 people have been injured in the severe weather tearing through Oklahoma. Several tornadoes ripped through the Tulsa area yesterday, wreaking havoc. One of those injured is in serious condition. Other parts of the South also had severe weather. Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi were all under flash flood watches. The extreme storms are expected to continue today. An officer accused of shooting a 17-year-old has found himself a new job. The Chicago Police Union hired Jason Van Dyke as a janitor and a supposed jack of all trades. Van Dyke was charged with the first-degree murder for fatally shooting Laquan McDonald 16 times in 2014. The president of the Fraternal Order of Chicago Police says this move comes as Van Dyke is in a very difficult financial situation.
A U.S. advocacy group says 98 girls in the Central African Republic have reported they were sexually abused by international peacekeepers. 3 girls also said they were tied up, undressed, and forced to have sex with a dog by a French military commander 2 years ago. The UN has been in the spotlight for months now over these types of allegations, and the advocacy group says this new information is in the hands of senior UN officials. And U.S. officials say the Obama administration is discussing whether to allow foreign governments and banks to use U.S. currency to do business with Iran. Right now, the practice is illegal, but the new rule would support legitimate business with Iran. The U.S. Treasury would issue a general license to allow offshore financial institutions to access U.S. dollars for foreign currency trades if the White House gives the okay. And at least 21 people are dead and others are injured after a section of a road overpass under construction collapsed in India today. Police say tons of concrete and steel slammed into midday traffic in the crowded neighborhood of Kolkata. Rescuers dug through the wreckage using saws, small cranes, and their bare hands in an effort to find survivors. The number of people who remain missing has not been released. And world leaders opened a nuclear summit today in Washington where the U.S. and key Asian countries tried to put more pressure on North Korea. President Obama also tried to smooth over tensions with China over cybersecurity and maritime disputes. On the top of this year's agenda is nuclear terrorism and the Islamic State terrorist organization. And now let's send it over to Topher and Brendan to see what we can expect after the break.
Thanks, Jake. A historic transplant operation took place at Johns Hopkins today, and Whoopi Goldberg is getting into the marijuana business. I'll have more details after the break.
It was a rainy day here in Syracuse today. What does that mean for your weekend weather? Stay tuned. Citrus TV News will be right back.
Staring contest! You still got it. I know.
Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
If you see news happening on campus in Syracuse or across the nation, call the Citrus TV newsroom at 315-443-1177 or tweet at Citrus TV News, your campus news leader.
It's been a rainy week here in Syracuse. Brendan is here to tell us if the wet weather will affect tailgating this weekend. Brendan, what do we got?
Well, definitely has been a wet week here in Syracuse. Today, this morning was raining as well, but you can see right now nice and dry in the Syracuse area. The rain has moved off to our northeast. Unfortunately, the threat of rain sticks around into the overnight hours. As we take a look at your current conditions, right now outside 64 degrees, cloudy with a few showers in the area available to hit us, coming down from our day's high of 66 degrees. So really nice and above average temperatures throughout most of the northeast. Unfortunately, these warm temperatures have also brewed up some storms, as you were talking about earlier, in parts of Dallas and Louisiana, even into parts of Alabama. There have been tornadoes, hail, and some severe thunderstorms. Luckily, that will be moving off to the coast over the next overnight tonight into tomorrow, so not that bad if you're heading to Houston for the game. Tonight up here in Syracuse, not that bad either. Chance for some stray showers, but our low 58 degrees, well above normal. There will be some gusty wind out there, however. And taking a look at your Citrus TV 5-day forecast, you're able to see tomorrow, Friday, high of 60 degrees, 75% chance of rain, but we get much colder moving into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, high of 47 degrees. Wish it was 70. 60% chance of rain. That rain does change over to snow into Sunday, so not that good for tailgating. Monday and Tuesday, again, pretty frigid.
Alrighty, a lot of people I know flying out tomorrow. Can they expect delays, or do you think they'll get out of here on time?
If they're flying out in the afternoon, they should be good. If in the morning, there's a chance for some rain around still.
Alrighty, and then I know you said, did you say snow this weekend?
Unfortunately, we're looking 2 to 3 inches of snow between Saturday night and Sunday. Hopefully it won't start. Hopefully there's a celebration coming Saturday night. Hopefully it won't start by then, but it unfortunately looks like it might be.
Brendan, if you tell us about snow on here again this late, I'm not going to have you on again, okay?
It snowed on the 4th of July up here before, Jake.
Alrighty, and now we turn to our ICYMI segment where we will fill you in on all the entertainment, consumer, and health news you may have missed. Topher, what do we need to know?
Well, Jake, an alarming new climate change study surfaced today. It says the West Antarctic ice sheet could melt much faster than expected, raising sea levels 3 feet by the end of the century. Should this happen, coastal cities worldwide would be flooded. Researchers previously thought the massive ice sheet, which is larger than the size of Mexico, would take hundreds of years to melt. There's new hope, though, for HIV-positive patients who need organ transplants. Doctors say for the first time ever, they have successfully transplanted a liver and kidney from one HIV patient to 2 others. The procedures reportedly happened a few weeks ago, and both organ recipients are recovering well. Until 2013, those with HIV were not allowed to donate organs, even to other HIV-positive patients. Rival scientists are reportedly burying the hatchet and working together to find a solution to the Zika virus. A New York Times report says a group of scientists who typically compete for funding and hold very different views about how to intervene in the Zika outbreak are now collaborating. Some of the scientists want to genetically alter the type of mosquito that carries the virus to drive it into extinction. Others prefer to study the mosquito to develop better repellents. The Zika virus continues to spread over much of South and Central America, though. And Whoopi Goldberg is getting into the marijuana business with a feminine approach. The actress and comedian says she'll be giving her name and financial backing to a new line of marijuana products for women. The Whoopi and Maya company will sell 4 products, including sipping chocolate and bath soaks, all infused with marijuana to help ease women's menstrual pains. The products will be available in California to customers with medical marijuana cards. And some of the top female soccer players in the world are speaking out against wage discrimination. Big names like Hope Solo, Alex Morgan, and Carly Lloyd have filed a lawsuit on behalf of all of their teammates against the U.S. Soccer Federation for underpaying them. They say despite generating nearly $20 million in the revenue last year, they were paid less than a quarter of that. Earlier this year, the women's team filed for a proposal for a new collective bargaining agreement that called for equal pay for equal work. Speaking on this Today Show this morning, Hope Solo said not much has changed since she started playing with the U.S. national team more than a decade ago. And the newest wave of iPhones are shipping today. Apple began taking orders for the iPhone SE last week after their big unveiling the previous Monday. The new version has a smaller 4-inch screen, roughly the same size as the older iPhone 5s. A 16-gig model of the new phone will set you back about $400. The new iPad Pro starts at $600. And the Tesla Model 3 electric vehicle was unveiled earlier today by company founder Elon Musk. Customers have the opportunity to reserve their Model 3 starting today. And at $35,000, the Model 3 looks to be a relatively affordable electric vehicle. Production of the car will begin in late 2017. And for all of you wishing Nintendo 94 was still a thing, I'm definitely one of them, well, it's back, for phones that is. Nintendo announced today it was releasing a new app called Miitomo, but don't expect Mario Kart here. Instead, it's a new type of social experience that allows users to interact with each other using avatars. It also connects users to their Facebooks and Twitter pages. This is the first of 5 apps Nintendo plans to release. And now let's send it over to Gabby Rusk for your latest in sports news. Gabby, what do you have for us?
Coming up in sports, a very special VIP is traveling to Houston to watch the Syracuse men play in the Final Four. Find out who after the break, plus free food and football. We'll explain next.
They're coming. Places, everybody.
Light check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Everything looks good on our end.
And lights.
Come alive with the forest.
Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Here's your check.
Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. Just like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish. In your face, in your face.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Men's basketball in the Final Four. That's all anyone's talking about here. The game will tip off at 8:49 p.m. on Saturday night against UNC. And in the stands, Vice President Joe Biden cheering on the 'Cuse. Women's basketball team left for Indianapolis today with its Final Four game. That will be Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. against Washington. So a full weekend of basketball is ahead. We're trying to get our Citrus TV reporter Tim Langlois to answer some questions from Houston later. Besides basketball, what college student doesn't love free food? Head coach Dino Babers is bribing students to Manley Fieldhouse this evening to watch an open practice session. With a student ID, free pizza and soda will be handed out starting tonight at 8 p.m. In men's lacrosse, coming off 2 straight road games and overtime losses, return to the Carrier Dome to host Notre Dame. Citrus TV sports reporter Eric Simon gives us a preview of the upcoming matchup.
Syracuse lacrosse has played a tough schedule so far in this young season and sit at 5-2 after back-to-back road losses. They look to come back against ACC rival Notre Dame.
Excited to play against a quality team like Notre Dame. They have one of the best team defenses in the country, and you know, we need to play a very good game at home here to beat them. I think that we're getting to know each other pretty well. We both have made the move to go into the ACC. You know, with men's lacrosse, it's also an ACC game, and you know, we've lost one ACC game and we've won one ACC game. We've got 2 left, and this is one of them. So it's a big game as far as the conference tournament's concerned. And very competitive teams. Both have you know, pretty good traditions in Division I lacrosse right now, and it always makes for a good game.
The Fighting Irish will come to the Carrier Dome to take on the Syracuse Orange 5 o'clock on Saturday. For Citrus TV, I'm Eric Simon.
We now have Citrus TV reporter Tim Langlois joining us from Houston, Texas. Tim, welcome to the show. We have a few questions for you. First up, we know you talked to the players today, and what were their attitude like for the Orange?
Well, for Syracuse, Gabby, Michael Benichet told us their swag level is high, and that's something we've been, you've heard Syracuse joking about during this tournament run. They've been trying to stay loose, and that seemed to be the attitude today. The team was in a pretty relaxed mood. They had a closed-door practice today. They'll have an open practice that's open to the public today, but the first of 3 times they'll be able to get on this floor here at NRG Stadium before the game on Saturday night.
And Tim, what about Coach Boeheim? What was his swag level like today?
Well, he was a little bit, not so much on the swag level. He was a little salty today, his typical being salty to reporters style. One of our reporters asked him about his potential retirement plans, and again, he said he's coming back next season. Just to reiterate again, he seems to always get that question if Syracuse makes it this far, but he said he will be back next season. But again, he reiterated what the players were saying as well. The first 2 games, Syracuse played them close, but they don't mean anything now, and it'll all come down to this matchup on Saturday night.
And looking at the matchup, what's the biggest takeaway from what the UNC team was saying today?
Well, we talked to Marcus Page, and again, going off that the 2 times they played earlier this season, that Syracuse was thinking about the 2 times they played and that they've played close. Well, for North Carolina, it's that same mentality. It doesn't matter, and it will all come down to that last game. And for North Carolina, it will come down to they can do kind of what UVA could do. Inside, they have a good presence as well as outside shooting. So a similar style here to Virginia. Also, this team's it's sort of like an ACC tournament game. We asked a couple of the UNC players like that about that as well, and they seem to say that this NCAA tournament, though, everyone's focused and locked in, and that's why they said it didn't really seem like an ACC tournament game.
All right, thanks so much, Tim. We'll be sure to keep locked to you during this weekend. Let's turn now to what the Orange senior leaders had to say to Tim earlier today.
It's different. I mean, it's really easy to get caught up in all the awesome stuff that's around, but I mean, you got to remember what got you here and why you're here in the first place, and that's to win basketball games. And I think this group is focused and ready to do that.
You guys have been trying to prove people wrong the whole tournament. Does that still continue here?
Absolutely. I mean, I don't think we've been favored in one of the games that we've been in, and I don't think a lot of people have picked us to win games. And I think this team wants to prove everyone wrong, and we want to continue to do that.
The swag level definitely increased. You know, you take down a team like Virginia that's so well coached and got a lot of talent. You know, it adds to your resume, so to speak, and you know, that puts some confidence in us, and it showed that we can compete with anybody. It really depends how you look at it, honestly. I mean, the record speaks for itself. They beat us twice already, so you know, for them to be the favorite to win, it obviously makes sense. Or you could look at it as a 3-game series or a 4-game series, whatever, and sometimes it's hard to beat a team 3 consecutive times in a row.
All right, well, thank you, Gabby.
So what are you wearing to class tomorrow?
And what games will you be watching this weekend?
Find out all of that and more after the break.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So, Brendan, what are we wearing to class tomorrow?
Tomorrow, definitely able to get away with some warmer weather, close in the morning, but temperatures are going to be dropping as we go into the evening as the storms move out.
All right, and Gabby, I mean, assuming things go well for Syracuse this weekend, I find it really hard that Coach Boeheim would be back. Do you really think he's going to stay?
Oh, I believe in Coach Boeheim. I'm a Boeheim believer, you know? So I think he's going to be back, and I think it's too early to even be talking about this. We got a game to play tomorrow, or on Saturday, so we can't even be thinking about that right now.
All right, predictions from everyone real quick.
Oh, I believe Orange.
Yeah, same here. I'm not so sure about the women's team, though.
W's on both sides.
I'm going to go with W's on both sides, too.
What does W mean?
Wins on both sides. Well, that's it for Citrus TV News Live at 6 tonight. But if you just can't get enough, make sure and follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV News and check us out online at citrustv.com. I'm Topher Lane.
And I'm Jacob Reynolds. Have a great night and go Orange.